Hello, welcome to a random live stream from a Wednesday morning. Uh, and the ducks start right when I start talking. Okay, well, ignore them. But I know it's been a while. I think YouTube said it's been 3 weeks since I went live. Sorry about that. My schedule has been weird. Uh, so, and I've been working on that online wire bending course I've been building. I got some announcements on that later. Uh, and so let me know in the comments if you have an ortho lab. Has your schedule been kind of weird? Like one week will be super swamped, and the next week it's kind of dead. So I don't know if that's everybody, but if I sound a little weird, I have allergies, and we got some wind coming in through North Texas, and it's blowing something in. And so if you hear me sniff and snuffle, that's the reason why. But anyway, today is an unusual one. I have a broken splint here that came in, and they want me to repair it. And let's see if I have there we go. And they want me to repair it, but there are a couple ways to repair it. One is just remake it, but they already want that. They sent another set of models here, and they want me to make a whole nother one and repair this one. So I guess this might be a backup to the one I make. But what I'm going to do is going to repair this, but I'm going to use like a putty method. And let me explain what I mean, because I'm putting this on the model, and it doesn't fit exactly. See, it doesn't fit. So I'm real suspicious of this model, but not too suspicious because it is a stone model. And the stone model comes with air bubbles in here and other artifacts. So it's not exactly the model that I made this on back in the day. I don't know how long ago I made this. I can't remember. But if that's one good thing about 3D printed models is if you can 3D print the original scan that you made this on, this will fit 100%, and I could repair it real easy by just slapping it on there, waxing it in, and then just prepping this and going from there. But I just can't get it to fit very well on here. Well, I started suspecting something. I took this model. This is the model they want me to make the retainer on, and I got these to fit way better on this model. See how it kind of rocks, and it doesn't really fit all the way here. It just doesn't fit very well. But I can get it to fit this model. So I started suspecting, hey, and one thing you got to do with these stone models is you got to pick all these air bubbles, little bubbles out, all these artifacts, because they weren't in the original. So, or they weren't the same in the original. So what I think happened is they took an impression, but they poured it up twice, the same impression. And I started doing some digging around, and I noticed something here. If I show you this, you can see a nice sharp line here. That's from the spatula when they go to pour up the impression. So they take the impression, they're pouring the stone in. They might press too hard while this thing is on the stone vibrator, and it slices into the impression material, and then that gets filled in with stone. But it's the same line on here, but it's not as sharp. So that kind of tells me, hey, this was a double pour. So you can see with this air bubble and this air bubble match, and this air bubble and this air bubble match, but it's on this green one, it's stone model, it's not as sharp. Some of these have already been picked off, like this air bubble and this air bubble. Can I? Nope. Yeah. Nope. Yeah. And so this one and this one. So that means that they poured it, and right here I noticed that there's an air bubble. I scraped it off of this one trying to get it to fit. And then I scraped this air bubble, and this, I say air bubble, this bubble for impression bubble. So these were impression bubbles that were when they took an impression, they were trapped in the alginate, and so they're part of the impression. So when it pours up, it fills in that little bubble that was there. But when they take an impression, the bubbles aren't in the same spot every time. It depends on how you do the impression. So I think this is double pour. So I'm going to set these aside and not make anything on them. I think they're a little bit distorted, even though they look pretty good. Nothing. If I saw these by themselves, I would think, hey, that's a good-looking set of models. Now, I think maybe my original models might have been distorted that I made these on, and this might be what led to this splint breaking. So you see there's a lot of diagnosis that we do in the lab. And I also have a policy that if something breaks or if a retainer doesn't work or something, could you send the appliance back with the original models or new models or both? And that way I can diagnose what happened. You know, was it on my end? Was it something else? So on this, I noticed the gap, if I zoom in some more, you see how this gap is just slightly open? Which means this splint is kind of like this. Which means if for me to get that to close fully, like it is, I'd have to lift up one end, and then it's not seating all the way in here. See how it seats down? Seats down really good on this model. And that's where I was running into the problem with that green one. It came together really good on the green one, like that. It came really good together there, but it's not seating all the way in the back. So it kind of tells me when I made this original one, maybe the original one was distorted, and these, see how there's a nice curve of speed right here? Maybe it didn't have it, it was flat. Either the model the mouth could have changed between this splint and this model, which I guess it could have. And this is a good looking splint, if I might say so myself. Well taken care of or not worn. But looking, I can see there are wear marks from them wearing it. See these marks on here? That tells me that, yeah, they were wearing it at least at night. But, you know, something may have changed. So, oh yeah, Josh. Yeah, at least it's not as bad as a cracked gelb. I thought about that when I took the picture for the thumbnail on this. I was like, oh, cracked gelb, that's hilarious. A little inside joke between me and Josh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on this model, glue it together, and then I'm going to make a model out of putty. I could repair it on here, but I feel like the acrylic will spread throughout the intaglio surface. Intaglio surface is kind of a fancy word for the inside of the splint, the tooth side of the splint. But I feel like it wouldn't be that accurate. I think if I can make a model from this using lab putty, I can get this repaired. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it fitting on this model really good. And I'm just looking in there and making sure everything's fitting well. You see there's an air bubble, there's a bubble right there. I keep calling it air bubble. I guess a void is something. Let's see, is there a void? No. And then these little flares from marks from pouring it up. Just little things like that can keep it from seating all the way. So I'm just going in and cleaning up these bubbles, making sure there's none on the surface, the occlusal surface. Is that? I think so. I'm going to take it off anyway. since I'm not repairing back here. Oh, but the reason I'm going to use the putty is I'm going to use this model to make the new splint. So I need to save this model, and there's a chance I could break teeth off and stuff whenever I do the repair. So, oh yeah, that seats nicely. And that gap is still there, if you can see it. Yeah, wait a sec. I know, I'm all messed up too. Your schedule's messed up, my schedule's messed up. I thought maybe eventually I'll just get every weekday in the lab live stream. So I've done a Monday. I don't know if I've done a Tuesday, but I've done a Monday. I've done a Wednesday. So I'll just fill in the rest, and then I'll find a schedule that fits, I guess. I don't know. But good of y'all to join. Okay. So what am I going to use to glue these together? I'm going to use a little bit of Zap It. Or fill it, whatever you have. And then I'm going to use a little wax to again, I'm doing this live. This is probably not the smartest thing. Well, come on, get out of there. I'm going to have to get a new tip. There we go. And I'm using this stuff because I know it'll do a really good job. I'll have to re-break it when I get the matrix made, the index. I'm trying not to get it all the way to the tooth because I don't want to break that tooth off. But I think that is pretty good. I'm going to spray this over here away from my little container. And so what I'm doing is activating that glue I just put on there and give it a few seconds to clear up, to set up. Good morning. There's a refreshing spot for oh, that's good to know. I'm glad to hear that. It's Wednesday mornings. Usually Thursday, Friday. I used to do them on Thursday or Friday, and then those days got busy. And then I moved it to, I was doing Sunday afternoon for a while, and then those days got busy. But I did go on delivery this morning and got me some Chick-fil-A because one of my doctors is right next door to a Chick-fil-A. So when I go deliver at like 5 in the morning, I just swing through that drive-through, and so I'm still working on my coffee this morning. Okay, so the moment of truth. Let's see if I can get this off without breaking. I'm just going to try to squeeze it a bit. Yeah, it's pretty set up. Now, one thing you're going to want to do is make sure that accelerator spray that I put on there breaks it. That was not good. Let's do this again. Another option I can do, and I think I might do it, is I'll put a piece of wire here, across here. That should support it. I should have done that in the first place. Let's get a nice thick piece of wire. I didn't know I was going to be bending wire today. I think my finger slipped. I was trying to get it off pretty easily, but I think my finger slipped. Now I was going to put it in the groove, but I want to maintain where the teeth are hitting as much as possible. Now this is going to set up fast because I've already sprayed it. You know what? Let me go steam off the accelerator. And then that way, All right. The reason I did that is I didn't want the accelerator that was on this splint to try and to set up too fast while I'm trying to put it on there. So again, double check everything is set. What do I do with my zap it? There we go. I have to do the Copenhagen finger flip. Maybe that's only a Texas thing. I don't know. That was from my high school's kids that thought they were cool. Texas dipping and snuffing. That was back when the kids would come to school with shotguns in their truck in the back and go hunting afterwards after school. So I'm making a support bar there. I'm going to go ahead and put some more down in this crease here. Again, all this I'm going to grind off. There goes my... I should have done that first. Gotta love going live. Everything fails. My Lord, Cade, you're just making a mess of all this. Stuck to my finger. Stuck to my finger. Okay, stop. It's just a mess. Okay, my slick little idea may not work. Okay. Jeez. That was stupid. All right, let's spray this. And give it a little longer this time to set up. I wish I could show you on here. It kind of crystallizes a bit. I'm going to give that a little bit longer. I had an account ask for a mandibular bonded lingual retainer. They wanted me to bend it at the contacts to allow for easy flossing. It was fun, but a head scratcher to do bends in such a tight space. I hate bonded lingual retainers. I don't know why. I don't know why I don't like it. You would think I would like them, but it's a tight space. I'd use blue Elgiloy wire. It's a little bit softer, easier to bend, but to get in and out. But yeah, you got to keep it at the contacts, and then they can slide floss underneath there and floss and clean up. But yeah, I don't know if I have any tips besides check your lighting. Sometimes I have to do my lighting like this, and the different lighting produces different shadows. And as you're bending a wire lingually, it'll change the shadow. So you can kind of see, and I use shadows to kind of see, is there one, is the wire touching the tooth or not? Because if I see a shadow, it's not, it's above it. And get you a pair of good glasses. All right, let's see if I can screw this up anymore. Look how much that accelerator has dulled the finish on here. So I've got a little support wire. I'm just going to try to ease this off. And what I need is this to be stabilized. What you can do, and I do this sometimes with retainers, when they give me a retainer to repair, and for some reason they don't give me a model. I take the retainer, especially if the pieces fit together really good, and I'll glue them together, super glue. Sometimes you get them already super glued, but you get them together. As long as the pieces fit like a puzzle and there's no gaps or anything weird, you can use this same method to repair. What are y'all Golly, they are loud. All right, so we're ready for I was gonna say putty time, but let's. Help if I turn on the waxing unit. So you can see now it's a solid unit, and how the orientation is how it should be between the two. And so let's. So there's a gap in there, and you can see that gap. I'm gonna try to fill it in with some pink wax and scrape it smooth, because if I use the putty will create a seam, kind of like the same thing I talked about here, where the spatula, when they were pouring it up, went into the alginate a little bit and made a seam in there that got filled up. It'd be the same difference here, and so that means I'd have to kind of clean it up in the putty. So my first thought is I'm going to use a little bit of sticky wax. My hands are shaking. That means my coffee has kicked in. I'm just lightly. All right. Maybe this will work. I'm just going to scrape it flat now. Little piece of acrylic floating there. Don't like that. So now I've scraped it flat. And guys, you got to be sure and charge for this. Especially if they don't send a model, or they send a bad model. I'm not saying this was a bad model. It's just one of those things. You do a double pour. If your alginate's not designed for double pouring, you're gonna get a distorted model. Man, I barely talk about alginate anymore. Okay, I think I'm ready. Bring in the animals. If you're cold, they're cold. I'll prove this to you. Hold on. I'm being nice. My daughter's cat came in begging for the cold. Let's see. So there that's Pickles. Pickles. No, that's Pickles. He found a bed to lay on in here, and I felt guilty, so I'm letting him stay in here. But oh yeah, there he goes. So we used to have a duck cam. Now we have a Pickles cam, or a cat cam. Okay, so I'm gonna get my putty, and if you're not familiar with this stuff, it's really great stuff to have in the lab. This is Pala, if I'm saying that right, Lab Putty 90, and this is the catalyst, and this is the base, Lab Putty. And what you're doing is you mix the two together, and it makes I don't know how to say it, a putty. So I'm gonna expose some nice clean slate here. Not clean, but nice slate. And let's zoom out a little bit. Ooh. So this white side, this is the catalyst. Yeah. And this blue side is the base. And so I'm going to try to make almost a complete model out of this. So I'm going to use a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to just scoop out. Let's do 3 of these scoops. And this just kind of helps you measure it because you want equal parts catalyst and base. So I just kind of scoop it in there. It's like ice cream scooping. There we go. Now, let's do 3 of the base. This is probably too much. It's fine. It's fine. Kate, it's fine. I just hate, the worst is not having enough. And you've already mixed it, as it means you just got to redo the whole thing again. I think my putty's getting old. I know they kind of can expire. I want to say this was like $120-something. I think I bought it at Benco Dental. And I've had it for a couple years now. It lasts forever, depending on, what you use it for and stuff. I used to use it a lot when I would do partial repairs, like adding a tooth back in and stuff like that. And I haven't done those in a while. But I may, depending, the economy of everything. So I have these 3 putties, and what I'm going to do is mix them together and knead them together. So let's do that. I'm going to get them ready, warmed up a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is twist them together. This is my little technique that probably doesn't work very well. And then you just mix it. Now, I think this is the same stuff. You can actually take an impression with this stuff. But if you got any loose teeth, they'll pull the teeth out. So you're looking for a nice, smooth blue, light blue color. There we go. You really only got a couple minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a little bit. I'm just going to hand press it into. You'll be amazed how well this adapts. I'm just pressing it in. Not too worried about the back. I was mainly worried about that front. Got to capture where the repair is, all those teeth. So then this part, let's make this is where your temporary repair needs to be sturdy, because you push it in there and it snaps. Oh, you got to start over again. So I'm going to come up the sides a little bit, especially do that repair. Sorry if my hat's in the way of the camera. Yeah, this was way too much putty. I just wanted to be safe. I probably definitely could have gone away with 2 scoops. The more areas I can connect with the putty, the better. And I'll figure it out as I cut this. So I'm going to cut this down to a more manageable size. But we need to give this a few minutes to set up now. And all this is that oil that comes out of it. So I don't want to touch it. I'm going to let it sit there. I don't even know. Oh, the instructions are in German or something. Yeah, German. Made in Romania. Distributed in the U.S. by Kolzer. So this is Kolzer brand. And then expiration date. Oh, I still got some time. I didn't even know this had an expiration date. 2026, April 11th. Y'all remind me if I'm live streaming then, say, hey, Cade, your lab putty's expired. but I doubt it's going to go bad like milk. Addition curing laboratory silicone. So I was looking to see how long. I got instructions somewhere. All right, let me go wash my hands and get that stuff off of there, and then we'll be right back. Forgot to tell you another reason I made that base so thick that's going on is I wanted to make that sturdy also. So I didn't want it to flex while I was sprinkling it. So I'm going to fix this with cold cure acrylic. So once this sets up, I'm going to gently take it out of there, double check everything looks exactly the same, and then I'm going to break it apart again. I'm going to use my handpiece with a burr on it, and I'm going to prep the two ends, and then hopefully where they can go together. Now, does it still smell fresh? It does. I don't even know if it has a smell. I'm sure if you're taking an impression, you can do that. Now, that putty I was going to say is the same as, I think it's the same as, those mail order aligners or retainers and stuff you can get online where you can take your own impression. They use this stuff. You got the two parts and they give you an impression tray and put it in your mouth and take an impression. That's the loophole that they can get under. That's the gray area. That's why you can skip the dentist, because you're taking your own impression. When a dentist has to take the impression, all the responsibility is on them, the dentist, to make sure that the impression's accurate and all that stuff. And then, of course, us labs, we can't take impressions. Then we're practicing dentistry. You could do it on yourself. Like I made my own retainer. I think I got my mouth here. That I did a live stream on this. I made a spring holly that I still need to wear during the day to get rid of my gap. But yeah, you better charge for this repair. Yeah, totally. That's what I think I was going to bring it up. Yeah, better charge for it because it's going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to give this a little bit longer. It's still kind of mushy a bit. So since I used so much, it's going to take even longer. But in the meantime, now that I have I don't need this model anymore, and thank goodness it didn't break. One thing you need to think about is that accelerator spray will cause acrylic to bubble if you don't get rid of that accelerator spray. So hopefully too much didn't get sucked in to the model, but I'll have a separator on it and stuff. Let's see if this will fit on a Galetti where I don't have to mount it. My other mounting choice is a brass articulator. I guess that's what you would call it. Just a simple hinge articulator, which I guess is what a Galetti is. You can see my mounting plates, my plaster mounting plates on there. And I use those for my 3D printed models. I'll give you an example. Like, you print a lower and it's in a horseshoe. So I've made these little plaster out of extra plaster I have after pouring up an impression or something. And I grind it down, that'll fit the Galetti, and then I put it on here and I'll just hot glue it down to it. And it's on there temporary. It'll hold on to it until you get it out of the pressure pot, and then the hot glue gets warmed up and moved off. So we'll prep this. Ooh, yeah, I might have to mount this. I'm already starting to not like how this looks. Oh, that wind is whipping around out there. All right, let's see how this is going to go. I don't like them trimming there. I'd rather trim it here because they do this. I don't know what it is about the offices. They always do this like angle thing. It's just nice. I guess it makes it for a tight model. But y'all tell me, what's that angle for? Is it for them doing Essex in-house? It makes it easier, but it makes it hard for mounting on a Galletti because it tends to want to try to slip out. Got a pretty good handle, but I'm afraid this isn't tall enough here. All right, let me get this out of the way without distorting it. Twist, twist, twist. All right. So, working with the Galletti here, I'm going to close this down here. This will also help whenever I get that repair done. I can test it on here and possibly even dial in the occlusion again. Now, they did send me a wax bite. Yeah, I did get a wax bite, and it looks pretty good. Usually I hold it up to the light like that, and if it looks pretty even all the way around, I can use it. So let me put that on there. Sometimes I'll warm up this wax bite so it seats better. Y'all let me know, when y'all do a splint, do y'all use the wax bite provided? Or do y'all just do this, where you just put it together with your hand like this, and just I usually rock it back and forth. Ooh, that's loose. And rock it back and forth. Oh no. But let's try it with this and see what it looks like. So then I just need to, there we go. And then I'll tighten this down. I'll tighten the ball joint down. And then after that's all done, I'll set the VDO, I guess is what you could call it, for a splint. Open that up. And there we go. Now I do need to open that up a little bit more. That'd be a super thin splint. So let's open that up just a bit. Now, if I would have thought sooner, I could have put the old splint on here and got the exact same. Steve, sorry. Typical bite is trash. So true. I was actually impressed with this one. This actually looks pretty good. Sometimes you got to trim off all the excess, or they bite lopsided or something like that. Yeah, typical bite is definitely trash. And this bite doesn't. So if I go all the way down, see, it's not touching over here. But again, this is a weird bite. Hence the reason for the splint, probably. See, it's not touched. So if I loosen these a little bit, I might be able to get that bite to close. Just a little bit. It's still flared out. Yeah, that wasn't much different. So that wax bite was decent this time. Yeah, apparently everyone in town is class 3. I kind of wonder, sometimes do you ever get like models from a certain office and they're all just massive models, and you're like, what are they feeding these kids in this town that this doctor's in? They're just all huge mouths, or they're all tiny petite mouths. All right, let's open that back up. Now, one thing I can do, and I know the doctor wants it to be as thin as possible. Yeah, that's about, I think this is like, these wax plates are like 1.4 millimeters or so. So I can kind of get a good idea of the thickness. It's going to be tighter over here than here, but I think that's how the bite is. I keep feeling this loose. I think it's just the screw back here. I do not want that to get loose while I'm working on it. Now, one thing I like about the Galetti is being able to take that apart like that. Let's check this. Ooh, yeah, it feels... Usually they get warm, but I don't feel like this is getting warm yet. So, let's get back to this. I have some wax here. I like to cheat and make my border with wax. There's a little piece of wire in that. That helps if the model wasn't cold. Warm that up a bit. I do have my wax above here. I usually set the bite and then try in their scent bite to compare. Oh, yeah. You did it the other way. Then it's probably a better way. The bad thing is, that's the great thing about the Galetti again, is you can adjust the bite afterwards, and boy, that is not. Get another piece of wax. For some reason, that piece of wax was very cold. If you see me reaching up, I have it on my lamp up here. You can see it here. Nope, I moved my camera, I forgot. But yeah, I usually set the bite and to compare. Over here on the denture side, I wish I could do the same. Yeah, I'm sure you get trash bites too. And that is, well, with splints it's really important, but dentures, man, something that they have to function in all day long. You need a really good bite. And dental things, you could probably tell, the good dentist and the not so good, or the dentist has an amazing assistant that just takes absolute wonderful impressions. I think most assistants nowadays, especially in ortho, they lost their ability to take impressions. Now this doctor has requested that I'm going to put a little bit of separator on my fingers. There we go. So cold in here. But most assistants seem to have lost their ability to take good impressions. The ones that scan all the time, they can take amazing scans, but man, they have to take an impression. Ooh. But then there are some old school assistants out there that they'd rather take an impression than scan. But I'm sure the patients enjoy scanning over taking impressions. When I was an assistant, that was the thing I dreaded most, was taking impressions. And when a kid got out of braces, we took 4 impressions, 2 upper, 2 lower. And the 2 of them, he didn't allow duplication. 2 of them were for study models because he had to keep records. And now with digital models, the same scan can be used for both records and sent to the lab. But now the lab is responsible for printing it up, and we can only blame ourselves for, well, I guess you can still get bad scans. All right. Where's my wax? I'll fill in a little bit here. So this is the prep for doing a regular, what I do for a regular splint. Now this wax, I'm excited to try Priscilla's new splint former. I'll pull that out of my drawers in a sec. Oh, that sounded bad. I'll pull that out of my drawer and show y'all. The one I went bad. It was a test version. So, just doing a quick waxing. You might think I'm waxing too much, but trust me, the undercuts I'm seeing here are pretty tremendous. I don't know if I explained it before. This doctor has asked to just the sevens, just cut the splint half of the sevens. All right, let's hold that for a second. Let's check this. I'm in the market for an intraoral scanner to do difficult patients in the chairside conversions in the future. All my accounts are still old school. Yeah. Doing conversions, I guess like all on fours and stuff, I think you have to have a scanner, right? Because you got to capture it right there, chairside, for that. All right, so this is definitely finished. I can feel it. So I'm going to cut a lot of this excess off. I have this model knife here. We call it the Freddy Krueger in my old lab, because of the shape of the blade. Reminded us of Freddy Krueger. Hey, it's going to be Halloween in a few days, so there's the Freddy Krueger knife for you. If only trimming models was this easy. You can really see how well I mixed it, or how well I didn't mix it. So there's a way of using this method to duplicate splints in dentures also. So let me know, have you duplicated a denture using this putty or a type of this putty? They make different hardnesses of this putty. Okay, where's my knife? Let's get this back together. I don't know. Put that there. Where's my knife? There we go. Okay, so if it breaks apart, ooh, you can really see how well that was in there. Whenever I lift it up, you'll see the air separate. Oh, I didn't see it as well on that one. Hey, I did a good job gluing. No, I didn't. All right, see that seam? I was trying to fill that seam in. So that's the break line right there. But look, it's made a model. So I can repair it against that model. So I'm going to clean this up a bit to try and get better access to that repair area. I still want to keep that wall in there. Now, to remove that, do I have a knife or something that will cut this? There we go. Probably X-Acto knife would work. So I'm going to get rid of that seam. Let's really carve this down right here. Right at that repair joint. I think something's going on there. There we go. So that repair is right there. These will snap. Let me use this side. These will snap right back in. Just like that. And I'll hold it in place. Now I've cut these little windows here, and I probably need to do it at an angle. Again, I'm using cold cure to fix this, so got to get my powder and monomer in there. Yeah, I don't want to mess with the floor, this part of it. But now let's go trim this and clean it up a little bit and put some dog bones in there. I've done a duplicate with the lab putty and compression brass flask. It's very convenient. Oh yeah, I've got a, what do you call the reline jig? Is that kind of what a compression brass flask is? Oh no, or is that the one where you do the putty around the appliance and then you set it in stone, and then you do the putty against the teeth, and then you set that in stone, and then you put it back together. I'm bringing back my old days at the, oh, my camera's not working. Why is my camera not working? I have a wireless HDMI camera. Oh, it helps if the HDMI is plugged in. Jeez. Remember, I moved it. There we go. Okay, let's go over there. Next to pickles. Okay, am I on the right screen? Yes. So I'm going to turn on the suction here. Oh, sorry, Pickles. Camera fell on you. So I'm just going to grind off this glue, this not fix it, what did I say it was? All right, so now I can grind this pretty good. I'll do the same over here. I'm going real light. I'm just taking that surface. It's a good thing it's colored. If it was clear, it'd be hard to do this. So I'm just lightly taking off that pink, being real careful here in the occlusal surface. But again, it's good to have some nice fresh. So the broken part here, we're going to expose some nice fresh acrylic. And I like to put a beveled edge. Nice beveled edge. I like to put 1 or 2 millimeters
in there. One thing I'm going to do is, and some of y'all may do this or not, I don't know. I'll put a dog bone in here. Right here. I got to remember to relieve some of the putty area. And then I'll make a matching one on this side. Do y'all do this? Or if y'all were ever taught this, it's supposed to help with retention. You could also lay a wire in here. So if it's a chronic break, it happens a lot, you could lay a wire in here and it might help strengthen that. This doctor wants these to be as thin as possible, which of course makes it more easier to be broken. So then I have my dog bone. Looks like an arrow, actually. And you can see the angle that I ground it at kind of opened it up a little bit.
Oh, probably a bad time to ask, but did you Yes, the wife disinfected this. And that's another reason for the suction was inside of here probably needs to be disinfected again. Inside, I think they've done studies where they found bacteria like 4 millimeters deep in dentures. And of course, I believe that's dentures, and those guys wear them all the time. But yeah, this was disinfected. It was, she has a spray that she sprays on them and they soak in that disinfectant for a while. But yeah, good point. I should have mentioned that before. Look at all this waste. Okay, let's see how this looks. Okay, let's see how this looks. There we go. Love that. It just kind of snapped in there. Just snapped in there. So you can see the opening I made. So these are holding the two pieces in relative position to each other so that we can put some acrylic in there. Now, I don't have to put separator or anything on this. The acrylic just doesn't stick to it. That's another great thing about this lab putty is acrylic doesn't stick to it. Now, there may be some instances that it does. I see a little bit of a, yeah. Let me carve this a little bit more. And carve this just a bit. All right, we're go straight into acrylic. Let me set up over here. Take the pickles cam. Set it up over here. Maybe a little bit higher. Like there? That look good? Let me know. Ooh, it's got that weird line thing, Steve. The light source is not good. Can I change the shutter on this? No, it does not like that. I gotta stick with this. Well, I apologize, guys. You know what? Let me just do this chair side so y'all see it better. It had a weird flickering thing. Well, I guess I could leave the light off and the fan off. There we go. All right, great. What did I do with it? Oh, it's up here. Okay, sorry if this has a little bit of, oh, it's pretty good. See, if I turn this on, it does the little light flicker thing. That would make me sick. Let's just let the natural light do its thing. All right. So since this was molded into the backside of this, this should be sealed pretty good between the putty and the splint. So I'm going to put a little bit, oh, you can see the monomer sneak down in there a little bit. Let me make sure. The worst is snapping this down. There's a crumb under it or something like this. So, from what I was told, the monomer, that's the great thing about this acrylic, is it will actually bond to itself. And the monomer, when you drip it on the old acrylic, it will actually get it ready. It'll soften it. If y'all have ever done a repair before, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to build this up layer by layer. I want to overbuild it. Oh, I got to put it in the dog bone. I might be using the wrong term. It might now be called dog bone. Just pretty much just gives it more surface area to attach the acrylic to. But yeah, I'm going to overfill it, or and then grind it down even with the rest of the acrylic. I kind of have an idea. I wonder if I can take the old model, lower model, and just kind of hand articulate it in here and then make some grooves where the teeth go. You know what? Let's experiment. Let's try that. So if I put this, it should kind of lock in. No, I can't find it. But you can kind of see where I was going with that. And then it makes a little groove in there. So let's kind of fill that in. I'll put this back on the articulator and articulate it down. Let's clean that up. Clean this up a bit. And I'm looking at it this way. See, I feel like there's a little dip there. Again, I don't want to have to come back and add more. I'd rather grind it down than have to put it again in the pressure pot. But I'll always have this matrix to put it back on, which is nice. And you can actually probably send this back. Is this a better shot that I can do here? See, I kind of overbuilt it. But you can always send this back with the doctor, and they can keep it. And then if it breaks again, you can just use the same matrix. I'm looking, it looks like it's trying to slump. Add a little bit of, as Steve Zara would say, freeze it with some powder. All right, we're going to give that a little bit of time to set up. We'll take it out, grind it, pumice it, polish it. This will be a little bit longer of a live stream than I usually do, but, you know, hang out there with me. I do have an announcement. My online course is ready. Let me... I got the first in there. Hello, how are you doing? McWoozy. Good to see you here. If you're new here, my name is Cade. My wife and I own an orthodontic lab here in North Texas, out in the country. We have a little building on our land that we converted into a lab, and that's this building. And why are my lights on? What the heck? This whole time? Jeez. This lab with the fancy lights. And my wife raises chickens and ducks outside, and obviously cats and dogs. So we're a little animal farm ortho lab. But I like to do these online streams, connect with the community out there, other people that are curious about this, and making splints and retainers and other things like that. But one of my biggest videos is Adam's class, how to bend. For some reason, that thing exploded. So I realized there are people out there that need help bending wire, learning how to bend wire, and there's nobody out there to teach them. Now, the best way to learn is to learn under somebody. Go to an ortho lab. Hopefully the owner will teach you, take you under his or her wing, and you can do that. What I'm doing is I'm going to show what the announcement is. Let's see. Share screen. Share. There we go. All right, so this is my wire bending course. And so again, the best way to learn to wire bend is someone training you, right there, you're working in the lab. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. Another way is Great Lakes Orthodontics. They have classes, in-person classes, but you got to fly to Buffalo, New York, stay there for a week, and they teach you how to make a retainer there in their lab, and then you fly back home, and hopefully you remember all that stuff. So the next best thing after that is online courses, and so this is my Wire Bending 101, and this is lifetime access. And it's got monthly group coaching. So all the students, we get on a Zoom call together, and you can ask your questions, and I'll help you through your issues to try to get you from zero to labial bow hero, I guess is what you say. But I cover everything. So intro into pliers and wires, the different types of pliers, the different types of wires. And then we get into just doing basic shapes and things in here.
Depending on where you want it, depending on where your mark is located.
But you can do show how to bend right angles and the different angles and stuff. So anyway, that is ready to go. I'm going to keep adding. These are the newest ones I've added. I've done ball and finger clasp, and I've done arrow clasp and extra clasp, and of course the labial bow. And of course I'm going to add more labial bows and all that stuff. So it's going to be lifetime access, so you can get access to all these videos I'm doing. You can go to retainerdesigneracademy.com or courses.retainerdesigner.com. I believe I have a QR code I should have been putting up this whole time. Right there in the right corner. Take a screenshot of this, and you can do your QR code thing right there, and it'll take you straight to the course. Now, I am offering a discount till the end of the year. This is kind of a launch discount, and if you use discount code WIRE50, you get 50% off, and this will be active all the way until the end of December. And by then, I should have a full course fledged out. So this is my introductory discount code. So be sure and check that out. And let's go put this in the water. Do this. Let's take that code off of there. Pause the video and take a screenshot. There we go. Okay. Before I took that off. All right. So where was I at? Oh, you actually have two retainers in my mouth, but I don't think it's one of yours because it's from a different continent. Oh, let me know what continent you're on. I bet it's... So this is a comment from my Twitch. So good to have you watching. I don't have a single clue about orthodontic stuff, hey, enjoy it. There's one of my favorite YouTube content is Vice Grip Garage, and he goes out in the fields and revives vehicles. That's something I'm never going to do, but I find it interesting. So most likely I won't ever bend my own retainer. Well, if you ever want to get into the business, you know where to come. There's some other ones. Check out Dental Things. He has some YouTube videos to watch on YouTube, and Zara Dental Lab. He's got a channel just like mine. He does a lot better edited content than I do, these live streams. Josh Dobson, you can even follow him. And he's the one, if you ever watched How It's Made by, Discovery Channel, I think. How It's Made in this show. His lab is the orthodontic retainer lab, How It's Made. So they did that in his lab. You can catch that, I think, on his DobsonOrtho.com or something like that. So, you're in Europe. Nice to have you. I wonder what time it is over there. It's probably deep in the evening. But let's go and check this out. This is my pressure pot. This is what cures the acrylic and makes it hard, prevents bubbles from happening. So we're going to put that in the water for a few minutes to finish. Let me check it. Ooh, hot. So the water's hot, and so the whole pressure pot's hot, and so heat accelerates the curing of it. If you're new, these are the colors. And so I could have done a splint in any of these colors, like blue and red and turquoise, and then all those colors. And the top rows glow in the dark, and then there's the opaque colors there, and then all those are sparkles. So there's a lot to choose from. I don't know if you got some colored retainers in your mouth, but it's late. It's 17. You're using military time on me, man. What is that? 6 o'clock? Science Channel. Thanks, Josh. Yeah, so check out the Science Channel. They did How It's Made. I love watching those. And he has one on How It's Made retainers. Probably the best. Hello, I'm right here. 6:28 p.m. Hey, I was close. 5:28. I was saying 6. So, see, I can go live randomly, and I'll get people from other continents watching during their best time to watch. But let's switch over to this. So this is the, while that's curing a little bit more, this is the other splint I'm going to make for the same patient. So I'm going to make sure there's something there. Probably won't sprinkle this, but unless y'all really want me to. Right now I'm using the method that Steve Zara did on his splint when he sprinkled one. I was going to show y'all the thing. When I say Priscilla, all those acrylic colors I showed y'all, that's Priscilla. She owned a lab for 30 years and started creating her own acrylic colors, and a whole orthodontic supply company was birthed out of that. She doesn't work in the lab anymore, but she's a wealth of knowledge. She's invented a few things herself. So let me go. Oops. I'll show that. Ugh. It's completely failed. I'll show you. This is okay. So I have it in the drawer, and you can see it must have got too hot. The silicone is just breaking down on this. I can't even get it off. But I have one I keep in a bag here. And
it's a mold, and you use the cold cure acrylic, and you fill it in here. But before you do that, you put one of these plastic sleeve things in here, and you sprinkle it. And then when you're done, when it gets to just an initial setup where it doesn't slump, you take this off like this, and you put it on your articulator, and then you just peel this off, and you have a perfectly molded splint, and you just mold it with your finger. But I need to get the new one from her, as these are aging. And I think that one that melted here, she was experimenting with different types of silicone. So let's you can see how spastic I am in the lab. All right, here you go. It's still going to like cure over the next 48 hours. That's why when you get new retainers in your mouth, they have a new acrylic flavor to them. All right. So this should come out without breaking. Famous last words on a live stream. There we go. All right. So there is the repair. Remember, in the thumbnail, it was broken in 2 pieces, and now it's pretty sturdy. I don't know, you can't really tell. Prime is about 3 hours. The retainers that I have in my mouth is a wire behind the teeth. Okay, you've got bonded lingual. That's what Dental Things was talking about. Well, are behind your teeth, or the retainers are the ones that glue in. So not the acrylic and wire ones, like, well, like this. Like that. So this is pretty much a acrylic and wire. I make a lot of these. But I also make those bonded lingual ones too, that they glue behind the teeth. And a lot of doctors let the labs do it because it takes a lot of time to intricately bend in there. They are making milled ones, which are Mimotane or something like that from Great Lakes, which looks really cool. And then they also have wire bending robots that are dedicated to just those, so that's cool. Hello. I never had acrylic retainers. I've had a pair of those too. Oh, you've never, and I never had acrylic retainers. Acrylic and wire, yes, but pure acrylic, no. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you might be talking about like Invisalign too. Like, I say Invisalign, but it's not Invisalign. We call them Essex, or they're clear aligners or clear retainers, and they use like a puck. But before I get too distracted, let's go trim this down, pumice it, and shine it up, and see how it works. How are you doing? I'm getting a lot of these questions. Maybe I need to do a lingual wire. Man, I really don't want to show that because I struggle. But I do have blue alloy wire. I like to use it because it's a little softer, but it's got a blue end on the end here. And that tells me it's 028 wire round. Now this is just from the doctor. The doctor wants this. But I do have a ton of other, I have square wire, I have 3-strand braided wire, I have all that stuff. And whatever the doctor wants. And I just bend a little piece of wire. I'll use that same putty stuff I just used, and you can make a putty to hold that wire in on the lower, which is cool. So let's go. So maybe I'll do that on a live stream. So subscribe and click the notification bell, especially if you're on YouTube, and that way you'll get a notification that I don't know how it works on Twitch, but you'll get a notification when I plan to go live.
So, and I try to do as early as I can to let y'all know. I don't have a set live stream time yet. What camera am I on? Nope, that's my chin. There we go. Well, it helps if I take the thing with me. Okay. Now I'm using a rough burr. One of these. And I'm just going to, I would say, if you maybe not use a rough burr like this. If you're not used to using it, because it could ruin it. So I'm just pretty much building in, flattening the walls. What we should be able to see, I think I got an air bubble in there, dadgummit. Let me switch over to a more fine acrylic burr so you can see the difference. The teeth on this is way more aggressive than this. And this will make it smoother. Yep, I got an air bubble in there. Don't like that. I'm gonna have to fix that later when y'all aren't watching. Let me go get the articulator of the one I've already mounted, and we'll tap that in, see if I can get it really close. Now this is the first time I've put it back on the articulator. This will be a good test. Again, famous last words for a live stream. Yep, there we go. You can see where I got pretty close putting my wax on there. So now I am going to undo this so that there's a space right here, and you can see how much it's raised. It's almost a bump. So I can probably whack down a good part of that. All right, where is my articulating paper? There we go. Nope. Get back here. Dadgum, you. Just hiding from me. So this articulating paper, if you haven't seen it before, it's just like a piece of paper, but it's got like ink on it. And so you can do this. And what I'm doing is just tapping it with that paper in between, and it's going to show me where it's hitting. And so what I'm going to do is grind on that spot until I can get all the teeth hitting. Hopefully it doesn't take much. I am going to leave a slight canine guidance. Because this doctor likes those. I'm going to go, yep, I'm starting to get a little bit of contact. Back there. Let me do something. Let me take this off.
let me reset this. Okay. So if I put this back, I should get a pretty good reading. Keep coming loose. Yeah, starting to get that tooth right next to it. I'm also kind of pulling on it a little bit when I'm doing the paper, the articulating paper. Oh yeah, it's starting to work. I'm getting some marks. I'm looking for just a slight little, like a circle. When I pull on it like this, I can feel where it's really hitting hard, because I shouldn't be able to pull that through. So I'm getting pretty close, I think. Yeah. This, I think, I used to touch there. I wonder if the doctor removed that, because I remember this case now. I remember there being a dip right there. There's a gap. So I'm not going to go try to chase those, but I've got these almost there. So this is an important part of the whole splint making. So you can see I got it down to where it's all touching, except for these. I'm going to leave that, because it looks like he may have ground on that, or heck, I may have ground on that. I did grind on that. So I'm going to add that back in. Yep, I think we're gonna. So what I'm gonna do is, this live stream's gone pretty long. I'm gonna go ahead and pumice and polish this so you can kind of see the end product. But I'm probably gonna go back and add some more acrylic here, and I'll just keep it on the articulator. But I gotta prep this for acrylic and this for acrylic before I can do that. That just take too long on the live stream. So, and then I'll just add a little bit of acrylic right here, and I'll put it together like that. Make sure those teeth are embedded in acrylic, put it in a pressure pot, let it cure, come back and do the same thing. So just picture this on the other side, what I just did with those two spots. But it looks like it's fitting that mouth really good. Plus, when I fix it, I can do, I can fix those air bubbles too. Now I'm going to look to see if I think my canine guidance. They must have taken this off, this canine guidance, because I usually stack those pretty good. And I say he is the doctor that I made this for. He probably made some chair side adjustments. That's why I thought he ground that away, so maybe those teeth will erupt up. But I think I did that. I see some grind marks. It's probably me grinding the glue off. And it could be him, grinding those teeth where they don't touch the splint, and they'll eventually erupt until they touch the splint. I'm trying to match this side. All right, time for sandpaper and pumice. Let's do this. Ah. So what that does is it smooths it real nice. I'm going to do the whole splint, just so it's all the same level, or all the same finish. And what this is pretty much 150 grit sandpaper cut into strips and put on this split mandrel. Underneath it looks like this. This is a split mandrel. See, it's split right there, and you just slide that paper in there and then roll it up, and does a real nice job smoothing those scratches from the burrs out. I'm filling with my thumb any rough spots. All right, let's go pumice this. Let's see how this repair looks nice and shiny. What just fell out of my pocket? That. Turn this off. It's too noisy. All right, what I'm doing is I'm setting up a camera in my pumice area. I think I got it. There we go. Oh, my wheel is dry. Oh, this is my pumice. I'll take that off and soak it down. I'm going to add just a bit of water to reactivate my pumice. So let me put the wheel back on. Need to get a new wheel. This one's starting to get small on me. So I'm just going to pumice the whole thing as if it's a brand new splint. Again, it's important you disinfect this before you do all this, because then it just will contaminate your pumice. Probably a good idea to replace this pumice after this patient. I mean, thank God it's not a denture. Those are some nasty repairs. Or they can be. It really depends on the patient. Try not to lose those contact points. Can't pumice it too much. Okay. Again, I do need to add some more to this. And I'll just have to do that off the live stream. So, do a little steam. I'm going to set up my high shine wheel. Not doing too much of a thorough job because I know I'm going to have to redo all this anyway, but I just want to show you all that repair area. Let's look at this under the light. Well, this is the light, but okay. We got it repaired. Let's do this. Let me peel this off. It's kind of reflective. If I zoom in. Well, let me go grab the models and stuff. So here is the repair. I need to steam it out and clean it. It's a little cloudy on the inside. But you can kind of see the repair seam right there. That's where the break was. So it's almost imperceptible, except for the big bubble I got right there. Let me get a paper towel. Let me go steam this real quick, see if I can get it to clean up some. Sorry about the noise. I'm not brushing my teeth. I'm using some Dawn dish soap with a brush to really try to scrub out the intaglio surface. Man, allergies are kicking back up again. Okay. So there we go. If I can zoom in some, you see the surface. It is a little bulky right there. I need to trim that down some. And again, like I said, I need to add some to the surface here. But just as an overview, I was given this model. I'm suspecting that it's distorted because it doesn't seat all the way on here. So I glued the two pieces together and I made a matrix with it, repaired it, and then trimmed it. So it was just a simple repair. And then I can put it on the model, what I think is the original model, and you can see I've got it pretty close. I just need to dial it in a little more, grind down a little bit more there, add some there, and I think we're good there. This side, these molars are really flared buccally, so it's really hitting lingually more than anything. You can see there.
So that's it. That is our repaired splint. Hopefully that helps someone out there that needs to do this, or you're just curious and watching. But there are some comments. I have a question. Have you ever heard of the brand Renfer? Yes, yeah, they do orthodontic stuff over here in Europe, but I don't know if they're also known as. Yes, Renfer is a very high-end equipment manufacturer here, and I might have. I have a vacuum mixer for doing study models. I haven't used it in years, but it's a Renfer, and it's super nice. But yeah, they do have Renfer here, but I also have Vaniman, Biostar, Ortho Trim, I'm trying to Red Wing Lathe, NSK handpiece. So yeah. Have to give Kate a shout out as he's the OG video trainer as we use his videos to learn how to pour and trim our acrylics. Well, thanks for the shout out, Josh. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people will sit down their new technicians in front of my videos and go, watch this. Now, I tried to be as flexible as possible because every lab's different. Every lab likes to do things different, but hopefully I can train you on the a base level, and then you can get trained on top of that in your lab. So orthodontics products for orthodontics. Yes, yeah. So that's Renfer, and I know they do dental lab stuff too. So yeah. Boy, that's small. Is that? Oh, it's party. Do they do material? Do they do material? That's a good point. They may do some material, Renfer. They may have, like, for their sandblasters, they may have aluminum oxide. Do you 3D print them? Yes. This is the one doctor that uses stone models still. So, he's done a few prints sometimes, but he doesn't like it. He's old school. But yeah, I do 3D print models. I got a bunch laying around of my 3D printed models. I love. It scares me a little bit doing a splint on a 3D printed model, but I love how they come out. They come out just crystal clear. Something to do with doing them on a stone model. It makes the inside of the splint, coarse and cloudy. And I'm using JBC separator. But when I do it on a 3D printed model, it's not as porous as a stone model, so it comes out, I mean, absolutely clear. It's awesome. Oh no, 3D print. I have done a few of those. Yeah, you can print these. They have new resins out. Well, not new. It's a few years old now. That print, and I have some. I just haven't liked the software yet. I like how they come out, and they come out great. And I've done a couple. I really want to do a video on it, but I want to get better at it, so I don't mess people up out there. Hold on, about the. Sorry, I had to sneeze. But yeah, I've done 3D printing before, and I use Formlabs LT Clear or something. It's like $350 a bottle. But so far it looked really good. It fit good. I just didn't like the design, and I need to work longer in the software. But I do have a new CADflow.ai, and I like the looks of how their AI design splints come out. So it uses AI to design a splint, and you upload your upper and lower scans in there, and you have a virtual articulator that does this, and it creates that splint, and then you send it over the printer. It's pretty cool. Yeah, 3D print the splint. Your dad works in the materials department? No way. Oh, so they do make materials. Yeah, they do waxes too. Oh, I think I've used their waxes. We had it was a tin of wax, kind of like this. And it was pink wax, real high-end quality. They make really good products. Um, so waxes, polishes, stuff like that. Renfort does it too. Yep. And they are big at recruiting new employees around. That's good. Hey, you might get a help from your dad. It'd be something cool to get into. Now you get to see, show this to your dad. Your dad probably be like, we make that, we make the putty, we make everything. But yeah, he may pick out a few things that I use here that they make. But you get to see it done in the end product. I don't know why I'm holding this. Let's see about. No, I don't have a trash can. So that's cool. That's cool that your dad works for Renfort. Renfort comes to our conference every year. Let me give a shout out to our conference. If you go to orthodonticresource.com, let me actually see if I can go there. If you go to orthodonticresource.com, this is the website. If you click here, save the date, or up there under conference and attendees, you can see what our conference is like. This is Ortho Outlaw, another YouTube channel. He was there and he did some classes and stuff. So we actually, a lot of us lab owners get to hang out. It's every year. It's April. This year it's April 10th and 11th of 2026. And you can register here and you get to see all the newest technology, the trim aligners, and we had 3 wire benders there. And in fact, I have the demo unit of one of the wire benders. There's Priscilla and her colors. And we actually got to see the wire bender in action. 3 of them. There it is. That's the one I had, that wire bender. And so we have a blast there. So if you are interested, it's in pretty much Dallas, Texas. It's another town next to it called Irving. There's 3D printed appliances. We learned all about that. And so all the lab technicians, we all hang out together and get to compete. We're all competitors, but when we're in the classroom together, there's a Pinsa Labs wire bender. Hopefully I'll get to test that one soon. So stay tuned to that. Anyway, you can look at the classes, MARPI, Mesh Mixer. Our own Josh Dobson is speaking on how to do inventory. He worked at a huge lab in the Midwest and was the director of the inventory. So he knows how to keep up with inventory. So you look at the wall behind me, you see all those acrylics. I'm more of a order as I need, but anyway, MARPI class, TAD, how to sell your lab, how to retire out of it, all that stuff. And so you just go to this website, orthodonticresource.com, and you can register. And I think we have a discount. Yeah, it's $400 per person, but if you register before January, you get $350 a person. And that includes breakfast and lunch and snacks and all the classes you can take. And your hotels, I believe your hotel is $152 a night. Or $158 a night. And so there's a link to register for that also. But that being said, I have gone too long. Yes, it's funny, in our school there's a job convention every year, and the looks on the faces of recruiters are funny if I tell them that it was that was developed by that and for that quarter of their booth. I think I'm understanding. Yeah, the faces of our school has job conventions every year. Yeah, so that's good. But by my dad. Okay, what they do, what your dad does. So this industry's a niche industry. You really only know about it if you stumble upon it, the YouTube videos, and if you don't. So, will you broadcast it to see it from Greece? Yes. And in fact, if you want to see last year's, if you go back to that, I'll bring it back up again. You can watch last year's if you want. And I think there's about 6 of the classes that were recorded. If you go back to that QR code, you can actually watch 2025, this past April. You can watch those also. But yeah, if you register, you'll be able to see the. We'll try to live stream, but sometimes we record, and the live streams will be up later. But again, if you go to this, you're not seeing what I'm seeing, are you? There we go. So if you go back here and click on this, it'll take you to the front. My retainer course is actually hosting the DLAT. We call it the Conference Rewind. DLAT is the parent Dental Lab Association of Texas. We put on this conference every year, been doing it since 1944. And there's a picture of me introducing it. But if you go down, you can see all the mesh mixer, rebuilding the retainer making process with Dr. Neil. That's the guy that does the wire bender that I have in my lab. High volume 3D metal print, TAD placement, maxillary expansion. We even got RPE that doesn't use a key to activate. So if you're familiar with RPEs, this Dr. Keels has done made a RPE, and he'll be there again this year. I think he's going to do a talk on there. So those are the ones you can actually watch that are ortho, and of course all these other ones. And I believe it's $187 American dollars. I don't know what that works in Greece money. I don't know what, is that euro? Do they use euro in Greece? But anyway, you can go there and you can watch last year's. And so we're going to do the same thing again this year. So you can actually watch it if you're not in the US and can't make it. But we have had people from Australia and China and lots of labs from Canada come down. And it's great to, being there, nothing compares to it. It's such a great time to be together. There's this is from a couple years ago. This is the exhibit hall, and we have a special ortho alley, and it's all ortho companies. Renfert's been there actually before. Their American salespeople have been at our conference before, but they usually sell them through, Renfert usually sells through other dental lab supplier companies. They sell their equipment. I don't think they sell directly, but they've been there before. Oh, that's for something else. But that being said, I'm going to end it there. Actually, on the other exhibitor at the convention you just mentioned is also local to where I live. Oh, the other exhibitor is local. Denek Ortho is from Germany, I believe. Renfert's from Germany also, I believe. So a lot of great products come from Germany. I think Dentarum comes from there that we use here. The expansion screws and stuff. But that way, hey, I'll end it there, and I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Hopefully that helps. Share it with somebody that you think can benefit from this, or you think that might find it curious. And I'll see y'all on the recording. Oh, another one. Dentsply Sirona, yes, was one of the university conventions I went to. Yeah, Dentsply Sirona was huge. I think they've shrunk down after COVID a little bit, but they were huge. They used to get huge booths at our conferences, and Sirona was one of the first CAD CAM and scanning out there. And then they make Dentsply makes their own putty. They make teeth, all that stuff. They've been all over. So, hey, I'm going to end it there. I got to get some work done, and we've gone a little long today. But hey, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see y'all next week, maybe around the same time. Again, be sure and subscribe, do the notification bell so you get an alert when I go live, and come join me live next time. and maybe I'll do bondilinguals because that's all we were talking about today almost. But until then, wait, I gotta set the outro video. I gotta be fancy about this. But until then, happy bending.